Microcampus is a 28-day journey to Xizhou. It is a place to truly experience, a place for challenges and to learn new things. In Microcampus, everybody has to choose an inquiry project to work on. For my project, I chose wall propaganda messages in Xizhou. For me, on the topic of propaganda messages of Xizhou, I wondered about something. It was when comparing three time period of Mao, Hu, and Xi, one must consider all of the area of which they are similar and all of the area of which they are different. These are some of the propagandas by different leaders. This one was put up when Chairman Mao was in power. This one was put up when Chairman Hu was in power. And this one was put up when Chairman Xi was in power. There are many similarities and differences of the propaganda messages of different leaders. Some similarities are that all the propaganda messages shows the current leader's focus point. For example, here it says first attack American imperialism and then go attack Chiang Kai-shek. During this time, Chairman Mao's focus point was on attacking American imperialism and Chiang Kai-shek, so that's why he made wall propaganda messages showing his thoughts. Another similarity is that the propaganda messages always have words included in it. If you see here, this one has words in it, this one has words in it, this one has words in it, and finally, this one also has words in it. Also, almost all of it is mainly straight to the point. For example, in this picture, it says 8 things you should do and 8 things you shouldn't do. This propaganda message is like bam, do this and do not do this, and it doesn't go around the message. Finally, the most important similarity is that all the propaganda messages are for the people of China. It is there to help the country China and the citizens of China. Some of the differences of the propaganda messages are that as the leaders changes, the propaganda messages change. This is because it shows a leader's focus point as mentioned before, and different leaders have different focus points, so naturally, the propaganda messages change. Another difference is that these days, there are more propaganda messages that also have pictures included in it. If you see here, on the top, it is a propaganda message from Chairman Mao's time, and on the bottom, it is a propaganda message from Chairman Xi's time. As you can see, there are no pictures and only words on the top, but there are both picture and words on the bottom. Another difference is that in the ancient times, people wrote messages, good wishes, and lessons for their descendants to learn from, but nowadays, we write more about wishes, seasons, and prosperity for people. Most importantly, long time ago, the messages were exaggerated, but now it's not. The propaganda messages were exaggerated to show people's determination. In the olden days, people depended more on the weather for growing crops, so they put propaganda messages to give people hope. Now that we do not depend as much on the weather, most of these propaganda messages are gone. Mr. He told me that some of these exaggerated propaganda messages were capture all the rainwater and put it back in Arhai, or dig water out of the ground and squeeze the water out of Tangshan. From looking at all these propaganda messages in this village, I believe that I was very lucky. This is because the propaganda messages here shows history. From this trip, I have come to understand Chinese history better. I also believe that I am really lucky because in a few years, the propaganda messages are going to be gone. If you look here, you can see that the propaganda message is almost all faded. All in all, I have found out the similarities and differences of the propaganda messages of different leaders by looking at Chairman Mao's propaganda messages, Chairman Hu's propaganda messages, and Chairman Xi's propaganda messages.